Hello everyone, welcome to another video. This video is going to be going over Autodesk Inventor's use of the following tools: Sweep and Coil. So first of all, I just want to show you a random use of Sweep so you can see what happens. So starting through, to use Sweep you need two things, at least two things: a path, and so I'm going to make just this random straight line my path, and you need a profile sketch. And what it is you take some sort of a shape and you create a solid by passing it along that path, and the path can be straight or curved or follow arcs or what have you. So to create the profile, it's almost like you're taking like one of those magic bubble wands and waving it in the air to create something. So to make your profile that you pass along this curve, what you need to do is you're going to go up to plane, normal to curve at point. And what normal means is it's like just like how two lines can be perpendicular and cross at a 90-degree angle. This is like a line intersecting a flat sheet of paper, and it's intersecting at 90 degrees from every direction. So like you're spinning a plate on your finger or something along those lines. So if you select plane, normal to curve at point, which is the very bottom option, double click here, then what it does is it creates that spinning plate, so to speak, and the line is like your finger spinning the plate. So now you have to create the profile. You interact with work planes by clicking on the edge. You're going to create a sketch, and I'm going to do a rectangle that's centered, 2-point rectangle. I'm going to center it on that line. I have to be careful not to put it on the other center point there. So drawing here, drawing my rectangle out. You can draw some shape that you'd like. It should be somewhat centered on that path, and it should be a closed shape. It really can be any closed shape that you want. So I'm going to finish the sketch. So I just finished my sketch that's in this work plane. We'll come back to the desired angle here, and I am going to take and press sweep. It's already selected that rectangle and it's passing it along the path. You're probably saying, well, why is this helpful? Why is this interesting? Because it already selected the path for me. It's helpful and it's interesting because you can do things like taper, which means as that object goes down, it's going to get a little bit wider. So you can set those to decimal values, or just keep it 0 if you don't want it to change at all. You can also add things like rotation. So you can say, I want it to twist 180 degrees. So that whole rectangle is going to rotate 180 degrees as you create your solid. Or how about even more interesting, 720, which is 2 full rotations. Okay, and it creates kind of really strange shapes that are harder to make with other tools. Okay, let's move on to another one. This would be like plumbing for a house. I'm going to walk through how to do that one more time. I want my plumbing or some sort of pipe to come around in this fashion, and then if I want it to meet up over here, this is a skill that lots of people struggle with, creating a plane offset from another plane. So come over, grab the offset, selecting your origin. We want to take this plane and we're going to push it back, and I already know that gap is 1 inch, so you're going to do -1 inch. Press OK, and now we have a plane that is crossing right at that point. So what I can do is I can create a sketch on this work plane. Zooming in, I am going to, so I know where to attach, I'm going to project that point onto this sketch, and you could draw something like an arc coming off of that point. It's coming down and kind of taking off from that point. Maybe you've got plumbing going like this, or maybe it's a straight line. Who knows? And so what you can do from there, and we could continue to draw. Let's do maybe another 90-degree angle coming up, arcing around this way. It's looking pretty good so far. Okay, and then that looks pretty cool. Just some random design. Now when I draw, this time I'm going to use a circle on this plane. Let me zoom to fit. Okay, normal to a curve at a point. Right here, creating a sketch on that work plane. Zooming in, I'm just going to make it a regular old circle. and we're going to sweep that along that path. So sweeping this along this path creates this really awesome sort of piped shape that is going to be really hard to accomplish by doing anything else. So what if you want to change the shape of the pipe, or you want to change the shape of something? Like, how would I draw? The challenges that I said I draw were a banana here and a drill bit. You guys are going to practice these two, a pretzel and a pitcher. So if I was going to draw this banana in this program, how am I going to do that using this tool? Well, banana is kind of it looks kind of like a sweep, except the sides change. So you can do this thing called a guide path. So here in this document you see there's my path for my banana, but you can also set this thing called a guide path that the profile of your sweeping figure is going to follow that path. And this is a really kind of a more complex technique, but you can do really cool things with it. So I'm going to go ahead, so I drew my center line of where the circle is going to be centered upon. It's going to be sweeping around here. And then I know it's also going to set that guide path. So I'm going to press Finish Sketch. What we're going to do is we're going to press Sweep. It automatically detects that that's the profile I want to use. The path I'm going to choose is the center line of the banana. That looks nothing like a banana. So you have to go to the type that you're going to use. I'm going to use path and a guide rail. Guide rail. Selecting this as my guide rail. And now you kind of, it says, yeah, it's fine. We kind of create this shape that's just a little bit different. Looks more like a pepper than a banana. You get the picture though. You can customize. This might be used for handles for equipment, somewhere where someone might need to grab onto something. And yeah, pretty sweet. Okay, the last tool I'm going to show you is Coil. And path and coil can be used similarly here. We're going to be drawing I'm going to call that a 1/4 inch drill bit. And this one's not going to be perfect necessarily, but it's going to have the same, somewhat the same idea behind it. So I have to create, my drill bit is I have it at 3.5 inches tall, and it's set to 0.125 because we're going to be using the rotate option. So it's going to double in width once it spins around that axis. So I'm going to come up and create kind of this little pitch for the pilot of my drill bit, and I'm going to try and make the top portion here. I'm just drawing this kind of cut in half and come down to complete the drill bit. Finishing my sketch, we're going to rotate or revolve that around this center axis. Press OK. So we've got this really amazing looking drill bit. The problem is we need to etch away that section that's missing. And technically I think you probably could use sweep here. It would be very challenging. I'd rather not. I'm going to use this shape called this figure called Coil, and so to do that you first need to create a sketch that is in a plane that's bisecting that or cutting it in half. So I'm going to choose one of these to draw on. We're going to create a sketch on there, dragging up, and I'm going to do something very similar. I know it's 0.125 wide, so I'm going to draw a line out, 0.125. I want that horizontal though, so let's try that again. Horizontal 0.125. Enter. So we got that kind of. This sets the radius of the coil, how it's going to be winding. The first line. The next line I'm going to draw sets the axis of what it's winding around, and I'm going to go all the way to the top, even though our winding pattern is not going to go all the way to the top. And then you need the thing that you're going to spin. And the thing that I'm going to coil here is going to be a circle. So I'm going to make that kind of eat away at this shape. Finish sketch. And so now when we go to coil, you press coil, selecting the circle as my profile, and the axis around which you're rotating is currently hidden. Oh, you can click in there. It's hidden in the center of the shape. That's okay. Clicking that axis, and you can see, if you look at coil size, you can choose the direction that it's wrapping. You can also choose which direction the coil is going. But if you choose coil size, it says pitch is 1 inch, and what that means is it's going to travel 1 inch before it gets back to its starting position. So it's going to do 1 revolution, and it's going to travel 1 inch in that 1 revolution. So if you change the pitch to, say, 2 inches, it makes it a little bit longer. Whoops, spoiler alert. Okay, makes it a little bit wider. So choosing my axis again, we don't want to do 2 inches. I say for a drill bit we could probably do about 0.5. That looks about right. And we don't want to do 1 revolution. We want to do a lot more. So let's try maybe 3. No, I think even further. Maybe even further. We'll do 4.5 revolutions going up to my drill bit. Press OK. And you can see this coiled shape that is wrapping around. The problem is it is kind of joining with my shape, and that's not really what I want to do. If you want to take that away, you go back into your options for your coil and select cut. Select cut and press OK. Eats away your drill bit. Technically, I think a drill bit would have 2 of these coils, so we need one in the middle coming up, but I'm not going to be too worried about it for this video. I bet you guys could figure that out. Okay, angling down. There we go. You can kind of see this is what's going to be chipping away at the wood or whatever you're drilling through. Alrighty, one more last little comment I'd like to add on. Throughout this class we've been drawing with 2-dimensional sketches. There are other options for drawing in this program. If you see this little drop down arrow, you can actually create things like 3D sketches, and this might be something you'd be playing around with our project. Okay, this one's really easy to use, pretty intuitive, just like the spline tool, except I'm going to be drawing a curve on the face of something. You can draw on something that's rounded or wrapping around this banana. So you could draw something going around here, rotate to the top, continue drawing around, angled. So what this line is doing is it's wrapping around the surface all the way around, which is something we could not do before in this class. This might be a good thing to practice for drawing these chess pieces that we're going to be dealing with. I'm going to finish my sketch, and if you wanted to, you could create a plane normal to a curve there. Editing my sketch, I'm going to carve, let's say, a circle out of my banana. I don't know why you'd want to do this. It's like a worm got a hold of it or something. Sweeping that path, that profile along this path. We're going to cut away or add to. This is a good feature for design. So if you want to draw something on a 3-dimensional surface and carve it away and give some detail that might otherwise be missing, this is a great tool to use that doing a 3D sketch. Okay, thanks for watching the video. That's all for this one, and hopefully you learned something. Hope you guys make something great.